everyone, I'm Mine, and this is set number 60422, Seaside Harbor with cargo ship from the LEGO City theme. This set contains 1,226 pieces, 8 minifigures, and retails for $109.99 in Europe, and will retail for $109.99 in the US. This set does not officially release until August 1st, 2024 North America, but it came out on June 1st, 2024 in most other parts of the world, so it should be available now. However, this set was sent to me for review by the LEGO Group through the LEGO Ambassador Network, but all opinions expressed in this video are my own. So the Seaside Harbor with cargo ship, shockingly, has two different builds. There's the Seaside Harbor, and there's the cargo ship. These don't connect at all, but of course there's room in the harbor to fit the ship, so let's take a look at the actual ship first, and then we'll take a look at the harbor. So here's a more close-up look at the cargo ship, and right off the bat, I really like the color scheme here. They used the new reddish-orange color from earlier this year for the base, and this is built using a few massive pieces. You can see there's these giant plates down here, as well as like these more shaped boat hull pieces at the front, and that's in 3 different colors. We get it in reddish-orange, dark green, and white. This is, of course, an 8+ LEGO City set, so despite being quite expensive, the building techniques are fairly simple. They're meant to be somewhat easier for younger kids to build. I review a lot of like Ninjago and other themes like that, and a set this expensive from another theme usually has a higher age rating and therefore uses more complex techniques. But just because the build's fairly simple, that doesn't make it bad by any means. I honestly think this looks really good. So I'll start with the bridge at the back. I love this piece they use for the windows. I'm pretty sure that's like a fairly common LEGO City part, but personally I've not really seen it before. But there's just a really nice shape to all of that, and the actual window panes are a separate piece that slots in. There's like a trap door in the roof, and you could open that up to get access inside. And I'm not entirely sure the point of that. Like, yeah, I guess you could now place minifigures in top down and put them right in front of the steering wheel. I guess that's the idea. But personally, I don't think that's too necessary because it's very open from the sides. It's not too difficult to get in there. And obviously my hands are a lot bigger than the kids who are the target audience of this set. I feel like it's easier to go from the sides than the top. So I don't know why that needs to open up. But hey, I mean, it's an extra movement feature. It doesn't really detract from the looks at all. So I suppose that's fine. There's more of the new orange color down here though, which as I mentioned, I really like seeing. And this is made to be somewhat modular, so this entire section could come off. Underneath is a room with more windows, but this isn't actually for minifigures to stand or anything. No, this actually holds the engine of the ship. That can very easily be removed. So if you want to like perform repairs on it or something, you can. And I love the use of the silver roller skate pieces here. That texturing is absolutely perfect. They look so cool. They're probably one of my favorite pieces that LEGO uses because they always come up with like really unique applications of them. Anyway, these parts can be moved around a little bit if you want, but that's how it's meant to look by default. And you can see it just slots in on top of 2 jumper pieces in there. I guess you could probably fit minifigures in there if you remove the engine, which I don't know how the boat's getting around then, but hey, that's an option you have. But I'm just going to slot this back in for now. I'm also going to reattach the bridge so the ship's more complete. And there's a sticker at the front here that I didn't point out before. That's actually a little shipping box, and that's because this is actually a cargo ship. Of course, these stickers on the side say the word cargo as well as have that same picture. And that's actually really neat. Again, I'm not an expert on like previous LEGO City sets. I've only started collecting it like as of the last 2 years. So I don't know if we've gotten a cargo ship before in LEGO City, but for me at least, it feels very fresh and new. And of course, the cargo ship itself would not be complete without actual cargo, and that's what these 2 giant crates are on top. Now, these remind me a lot of the crates that we used to get in the first few waves of Monkey Kid sets. In fact, I believe Monkey Kid introduced this like side of a crate piece. And these are similar aesthetically, though significantly more simple. I like the burnt orange, though I believe that's a new color for those parts. However, the teal definitely was used in Monkey Kid. And the crates are actually open from the sides. And inside of them, you can see they hold little jet skis. Here's the first one. It's blue. It's got a sticker number 8 on the front and a propeller at the back to move it forward. And yeah, just a seat for a minifigure and a steering wheel. And then in the teal crate, there's a lime green and white one. And that's got the number 7 on the front. I'm not sure where 1 through 6 are. Maybe they're in another set that I'm just not familiar with. The build on this one's significantly more simple. I mean, the body is literally only 1 piece. But from the top, I actually like this quite a bit more. Lime green's probably one of my favorite LEGO colors. And it looks good here. But yeah, you could very easily mix and match the jet skis if you want. The way they connect is very simple. It's just on a couple of studs. But that's good. It gives you more options for display, more options for play. And if you don't actually want to use the jet skis, they tuck away really nicely. Here's how the ship looks with the cargo removed. You can see it's just these giant reddish-orange tiles on the bottom. Again, if you didn't want to use this as a cargo ship, you could fit lots and lots of minifigures in there, though there's not actually any studs to pose them on. However, of course, yeah, it's super easy to load these back up. You plop them in right here. And there's still a little pathway in the center to like break up the 2 crates as well as provide a place for minifigures to actually walk if you want. Finally, at the front, we have a little bit of a railing. They use like these rubber tube pieces, which I've never been the biggest fan of. They're effective when you do them right. They're just very easy to like bend permanently and ruin, which for me, not too much of an issue, but for a younger kid putting this together, it could possibly be. But hey, I mean, it does look good. And then we have another trapdoor piece right here, which could be opened up. And you can see inside of this area is a crate full of fish. There's how that could be removed. There's how it looks with it gone. And yeah, it's just a single part with 4 different fish in there. I guess this is fish they caught on the trip or maybe food for the journey. Regardless, that's a very nice little bonus. You can also imagine this as like interior for the minifigures if you don't have the crate in there. There's not a ton of room, you can maybe smush one minifigure in. And here, let me do that real quick, I'll put the fisherman in. But yeah, you can see they can't stand up inside there, and they can't even really sit down. But if you lay them more loose like this, it can close up with a minifigure in there. So that's an alternative to the fish, I suppose. And that's most of what there is to the cargo ship. This is good, it is simple, there's not like a bunch of hidden little features or anything, but there's room to pose minifigures, there's fun stuff to play with. I think for the target demographic, it's really great. And for older collectors, it looks good enough to display on a shelf or put in a LEGO City or whatever. I'm fairly satisfied with this. But now here's a look at the actual harbor, and we're going to start at the left and move right. First, of course, the biggest and most prominent part of this build is the crane. And this is used to load the cargo onto the cargo ship, and the mechanism to do that's actually quite cool. To start out, you can see at the base of the crane, it's very open. There's tons of studs which could fit lots of figures, but this is also meant to fit the 2 crates in this set. There's spaces to plop each of them down, and there's little technicals on the tops of them. Well, if we come up to the top, here's the actual crane functionality. The crane has this little hook on it, and that can be moved forward and back. When it's all the way back here, it's above like the tail crate at the back, but when it's all the way at the front, it's actually not hovering over anything, and that's where you can have the ship pull into the harbor, so then the crane's directly above the ship. So forward and back is one motion with it, but then you can also spin this gear up here to lower the hook down, and that allows it to pick up the crates and drop them onto the ship. So to demonstrate, if I wanted to pick up the burnt orange crate, I've turned this right here, then thread the hook through the top of the crate, start turning the gear the other direction to lift it up and out of its place, then move the crane to have the crate hover above the ship. We actually have to rotate the crate to get it into the ship, and then lower it back down to drop it off. Let's see if we can do it. It's a little finicky, but you can line that precisely or just use your hands to help. And there we go. Now the crate's in the ship. We can retract this. And of course do the same thing for the tail crate if I wanted to. Now one minor criticism I'd give this set is I wish it came with more than just 2 crates. Again, thinking back to Monkey Kid, the sets that came with crates usually came with more crates than they could use. Not necessarily like Sandy's ship, but I'm thinking of like the Team Droncopter. I believe that could only hold 2, but the set came with like 4 or 5. Because the play functionality here is great. It's awesome to be able to move the crates from the dock to the ship. But when the crates are on the ship, the dock looks really empty. And when the crates are on the dock, the ship looks really empty. I would have liked 1 or 2 more crates just to keep everything always populated if you wanted to, just like display this on a shelf. Obviously for play 2 is perfectly fine, but for display I think 1 or 2 more crates would have helped. And the crates themselves are literally only 5 pieces, so it probably wouldn't have been hard. Obviously the jet skis add more, but even if they included empty crates, I don't know, it would have been nice. But that's not the biggest deal, just an observation I had. Because when it's empty, this section does seem a little bit barren. Anyway, moving up closer, a few details I like. There's a ladder to get in and out of the water, as well as tires on the dock for the ship to bounce against. That's a really cool detail, because obviously that exists in actual harbors, so it's cool to see LEGO capture that here, and I think that's done pretty well. There's like these little yellow barricades on each side of the crane, and that's just to stop pedestrians from walking over here. Again, small thing, but very nice detail, and those can very easily be removed. Oh, and these stripes on the crane, they're a cool graphic, but they are stickers. Those are not printed pieces. Moving away from the crane into the other sections of the dock, things get a lot simpler here. There's a lamppost with 2 signs on it. One says go and is a picture of a race car. That's probably a reference to a LEGO City set, but honestly, I don't know which one. I personally don't recognize it. But the one on the other side is actually a reference to the Robot World set, which is like the amusement park set for this wave. And that's really cool, because that makes sense for it to be advertised like at a boardwalk. And perhaps Robot World is actually on the boardwalk. I love how LEGO City ties all their sets together like that. There's a bench for minifigures to sit, a little stickered map. That shows you the layout of the docks, as well as some other buildings that we don't get in this set. And then there's like these chain railings at the front that use microphone pieces to top them off. You get lots of this microphone piece in this set, and I think it's a great use of that part. It makes for very unique looking architecture. And then below that, there's another ladder to get in and out of the ocean, as well as a standard LEGO crab piece in red. Moving over again, there's more of those little banisters, but then we also come to this very cute little storefront. It uses bright orange as the main color, and it's like crab themed. You can see the crab on the sign, as well as the steering wheel on top, which can actually be turned, and that's super fun. And this seems to sell just like pretty standard like beachfront supplies. There's a stickered sign piece showing what's being sold, there's ice cream as well as popsicles, and then a surfboard and jet skis, and of course the jet skis we already saw. There's another cool tie into a different LEGO City set here. That little polar bear with the sunglasses we have actually seen before, that was in the ice cream shop set last year. That's still on shelves, but yeah, they had that same logo with that same mascot. So that's a cool bit of consistency that this store is also selling that same brand. Inside, unfortunately, things are only 3 studs deep. I would have liked a little bit more there, but it's also not the end of the world. There's still enough room to pose figures in here if you want. And you can see what's for sale. We have 2 different flavors of ice cream, 2 popsicles. Those could be seen from the front. There's a life jacket right here, and you also get lots more of this in this set. You'll see the rest with the minifigures, but yeah, if you want to imagine that they all come from the store, you very easily can. And you could probably stack more life jackets on this rack too. Then we have a standard green surfboard on one wall, and a paddle on the other in the new reddish-orange. You may notice I removed the upper floor of this build, and that's because it is actually made to be removable. It pops off and goes back on fairly easily. And taking a look from the front again, you can see this upper level actually has paddles on the outside. I don't know if those are meant to be for sale or if they're just for detailing, but either way, I mean, they look cool, and that's up to your own imagination. The windowsill has flowers on it, and the colors out here actually match the colors of the ship. We have dark green and reddish-orange. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but regardless, the reddish-orange flower piece is very cool to see. And honestly, dark green, I don't think that's the most common color for that part either. It makes this windowsill look very unique. But yeah, of course, then there's the stairwell on the side which leads up to the store. That uses like a Monkey Kid bullhorn piece for the doorknob, which honestly works pretty well. And inside you can see it's like a little restaurant. There's 2 classic LEGO chairs here, a bottle of something, as well as 2 martini glasses. And that's not a new part, but I think that is a new color. I believe I've only seen this in trans orange before. But yeah, trans clear is a very useful color for that part. That's honestly super nice to see. And in the center, there's a sticker tile of a meal with a bunch of seafood on it. At the very top, the roof does have some studs on it, so if you want to put like a figure up there or something, you could. But the main purpose is just these flags at the back. Nothing too crazy going on. And then there is just a few more things going on. Number 1, a shower around the side. They use like the egg splatter piece in translate blue here to represent water on the ground and like a little puddle. That's cute, and it's nice to have like a shower to go to after you go to the beach. Because yes, of course, there's also a beach down here. They use a trans-cleared sheet slope to represent like a little bit of the waves. But then there's just a towel in the sand and a little umbrella. And despite being so small, this is a great representation of a beach. It feels like very cozy to me. I like this. Then out in front of the shop, there's binoculars where you can look out over the ocean. And a tiny little dock to go fishing, which includes a barrel to hold the fishing rod. And finally, in case you didn't notice, all of the sections of this build are modular. You could take them apart and rearrange them to change how your dock's laid out. I've already taken the crane section off the side, but the entire beach is removable, the dock at the front's removable, the storefront comes off of like this little curved section, and then the curved section also separates from the area with the bench. So then you're free to mix and match things however you want. This is just one of many, many possibilities, but of course I'm not going to show you all of them in this video. I do think the default orientation probably looks the best, but hey, I like that more options are there, and it also allows you to very easily expand this build if you wanted to, and connect it to other sets. And I guess if you wanted to create like a giant harbor with like multiple ships and stuff, you could get multiples of the set and they all connect together really easily. But yeah, that's just another very optional customizability option. It does make the entire build a little bit fragile. Obviously this is the terrain build, so it's not meant to be moved around a ton, but of course I'm doing a review, so I am moving it around a ton to get the camera in different places, and it has fallen apart on me in the different sections a few times, so that's something to be aware of. But I think the modularity is far more of a positive than a negative. But I think that's about all I have to show you for the builds of this set, at least for now. I'll talk about it all a little bit more at the end of this video. For now, let's take a look at the minifigures that come in this set, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on everything, including the price. So here are the first 2 minifigures in this set, and the one on the left is probably the most excited I've ever been for a LEGO City minifigure. And that's of course because he uses my Sig Figs hairpiece. If you guys see the profile picture on the channel, this is the exact same hairpiece that I used for my minifigure. And the reason that's exciting is because that hairpiece was previously super difficult to get. The way I got it, there was like a LEGO party favor set in like 2009, and my friend had a LEGO themed birthday party. And that set was fairly cheap at the time, so if you got that set, it was very easy to get. But after that, it was never really like properly released. There was a LEGO Club exclusive polybag that had it, there was a DVD exclusive minifigure to have it, but there has never been a wide released LEGO set to have this hairpiece until now. Of course, it's come in many other colors in many other sets. Black, dark brown, blonde, those are all very common colors for this part. But yeah, despite being a very, very common hairpiece, the color that I used it in was introduced 15 years ago and has never come in a set, so I find it very, very exciting that that has finally changed, and I hope to see it in more sets in the future. But yeah, that's my discussion of the hairpiece. Now let's talk about the rest of the minifigures. I mean, this guy's fine. You can see he comes with a life vest, and there's a lot of those in this set. It covers up his torso printing pretty much entirely, so I'm gonna remove that. But he's just wearing like a nice orange jacket. It does feel like a somewhat flat design to me. I would have liked some more texture to it, but hey, all the colors are nice, and it's got that like not Adidas logo on the back that's used for all the LEGO like sport clothing. The face print's pretty much as generic as you could possibly get. It's literally just like a standard LEGO smile. I guess that makes sense. It's fine to get this every now and then, but compared to how expressive most LEGO figures are nowadays, this feels like a major step backwards. This just doesn't really feel like it fits in with LEGO's modern style. But yeah, it's as simple as a face print as you can get. Don't really care a ton about the rest of this minifigure, I just love that hairpiece. The torso's fine though, I don't mind it. And then Fisherman is very simple. The blue overalls is a very common part, but hey, I mean, this guy immediately screams fisherman. He doesn't need the fishing pole in his hand for me to know what he is. He uses like the robber beanie piece that we see all the time in City, and he's got like a nice friendly face with a beard, and no alternate face on him, and of course no alternate face on this figure either. Yeah, he's very simple, but he's good. I'm quite happy with him. Here are the next 2 figures. We have 2 different people who work the crane. They use the standard LEGO City like high-vis vest. It uses like the neon yellow color that was introduced a few years ago. I actually really like this torso print. It does come in quite a few sets, but it's a great representation of what it's supposed to be. And then just standard brown legs, fairly common face prints in both of them, just generic LEGO City faces. This one with the beard I've always found to be a little bit odd, probably far from my favorite, but I have to say this hairpiece fits it pretty well. And yeah, speaking of that hairpiece, that's probably one of my favorite pieces in this set. It's like the 12th Doctor Peter Venkman hairpiece, and that's been around for a few years now, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel super common, so it's nice to get it here. And I think black's a color I didn't have for it yet, too. He does come with an alternate hard hat as well, while the female worker, despite having the same outfit on, does not come with an alternate hairpiece. However, her hard hat is dual molded to have her hair in it, and that's a piece we've seen before, but it is always nice to get. I'm not going to take the life vest off because it is the same printing underneath, but yeah, these two are good. Then here are the next two figures. We have like this older woman, and I believe this figure's meant to be a mechanic. In the official art, she's holding a wrench and fixing the engine, but she's wearing like a sweater, which I feel like is a weird outfit for that. But yeah, of course, that's under yet another life vest. As I said, there's a lot of those in this set. The older woman, though, very common parts. I know that torso existed. Obviously, it's just teal legs, but the face print's excellent. I believe it comes from a minifigure series, so it's cool to see that reprinted. But it's an older woman face without glasses, which is very rare that we see that at all. And she also just looks very friendly and kind. And there's an alternate face too, where she's smiling. Yeah, that one's honestly really cute. I like that a lot for a generic LEGO City face. Here's the one on the right with the life vest removed, and yeah, you can see that's a sweater torso print. I love the sweater torso print, I just feel like it doesn't really fit in this set at all. Number one, a beach just doesn't seem like the place where you'd wear a sweater. And number two, especially a mechanic, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a mechanic outfit. The glasses and the hat maker look like a mechanic, but the torso not at all. So I'm not sure why they decided to use that torso for her. But hey, I mean, it is a good torso piece, just not on this type of character. But it's LEGO City, all the characters are up to your own interpretation. You can imagine this character as whatever you want. And there's an alternate face where there's no glasses and she's just smiling and happy, and I think that's actually significantly better. So there's how that looks from the front with the hairpiece. And then here are the last two figures of the set, two kids, and for some reason LEGO City kids are always like exactly the same. So these are pretty much as generic as you can get. I don't have a ton to say. The girl, I'm pretty sure I've seen all these parts in multiple kid figures before. Even this hairpiece gets used a lot in this specific color on specifically kid figures. It's not bad, it's just very common. I would like more variety in the kids like we have in the adults. And this is like the one face print they ever use for child figures, which again, I like. It just would be nice to see some variety. The torso print's cute with like the berries on it, but I definitely have seen it before. And then the boy's a little more interesting. Of course, I just took the life vest off. But yeah, that torso print looks good. Again, I don't think it's new, but I definitely don't see it nearly as often as this one. And it does definitely fit the theme of this set. The face print is still incredibly generic, even more generic than the girls. But the hairpiece is somewhat more uncommon, so that's nice to get at least. I do like that one. And yeah, you can see there's an alternate face on him where he's frowning. Probably the least interesting minifigures in this set, but they're fine for what they're going for, I guess. Oh, the girl also comes with a net to catch the crab. That's a fun accessory, that's a good inclusion. But overall, what are my thoughts on this set? I think this set's pretty good, all things considered. The boat, despite being a very simple build, does look really good, and I think there's a lot of fun to be had. And I love how big the actual harbor is and just how many different things there are to do there. The one thing I haven't touched on yet is the price, and I think the price on this is alright. There's a few like big LEGO City sets this way, but this is definitely not the one that sticks out to me the most. Compared to like the Gorilla helicopter, this probably isn't as good, but it's probably about on par with Robot World. I might actually slightly prefer Robot World to this. But yeah, 110 for this is fine. It's not like a spectacular deal, but you get about what you paid for. Overall though, it's cool to see LEGO City tackle a set like this, and I do think there's a ton of fun to be had with it, and it also looks quite cool for older collectors. It's not perfect, there's a few things that I would change as I mentioned throughout the review, like I would have liked more crates, and some of the minifigures could have been a little more interesting, but all things considered, I think it's a fairly good package. So overall, would I recommend this set? I would say it's not one of those sets that like if you weren't interested, it's worth considering. Like if you have no interest in this, then you don't need it. But if this set caught your attention from initial reviews and you're considering it, I do think you'll be happy with your purchase if you decide to buy it. So yeah, it's not a must-have by any means, but it's a solid all-around package. And of course, as always, if you happen to find it on sale, it's a much better deal on sale than it is otherwise. I think if this was like 10, 20, 30 bucks cheaper, I'd be a lot more likely to recommend it. So I guess keep that in mind too. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think of this set in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to my channel if you're new. And let me know in the comments which 2024 LEGO City set you want to see an early review on next. But as for this one, I think that's about all I have to say. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!